Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, and we have a very special episode here today. As you might have guessed, we're going to be talking about At the Earth's Core. It is indeed Halloween at the Earth's Core again, because I did it last year, and I thought it'd be fun to, do a little more, little bit more about it. Or, well, actually do it with pictures this time and sound and, oh, geez, crank his tail, see if he'll roar now. So, oh, geez, now that hoser's roaring. Well, he's not roaring, really. But I wanted to see if we can get this thing to pop up right away. Nope. I'm not going to, actually, let's do this. So, At the Earth's Core was filmed in 1976, and it started out a little bit like this.
It was the scientific marvel of the century.
And it sure was. The book's pretty darn good. That was written in written in 1914 as a serialized version, and then published in 1922 in hardcover, as we see here. Starring Doug McClure. You may remember him from such films as The World That Time Forgot, The People That Time Forgot, and Warlords of Atlantis, looking very much like an Edgar Rice Burroughs movie, but not being one. He was in The Enemy Below and Gidget and The Unforgiven, and Because They're Young, and I'm quite sure that Troy McClure is at least based partially on him. I thought he was a fine actor and a great leading man, and he does a really good job in these movies. This is probably my favorite, between this and Warlords of Atlantis. It's not as good a movie as The Land That Time Forgot. I'm drawing a blank here. We reviewed it. But it also starred the wonderful Peter Cushing, which is quite the get. But I also wanted to start the show out with this. Xenorama. Okay, we're done with that. So let's get on to the movie here in Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core. This opening montage is the building of the Iron Mole. David Innes is played by Doug McClure, and then Abner Perry. Professor Abner Perry is the inventor of the Iron Mole, and he is played by the wonderful Peter Cushing. And Michael Vickers did a wonderful score for this as well. This was released in 1976. And this is I didn't see The People That Time Forgot, The Land That Time Forgot, and The People That Time Forgot. I saw The Land That Time Forgot, and I saw Warlords of Atlantis quite accidentally. But I did not see The People That Time Forgot. And somehow this one I missed it, but I did get the 8mm version of it. This was released on July 15th, 1976. It runs a whopping 89 minutes, and it moves along in a hurry. So there's the body, and our heroes are there looking at it. Kevin Connor, when you see this movie in widescreen, and if you really, I think this print, which came from Internet Archive, once again, I missed it those days it was down, is a good-looking print, but it's a little dark in places, but not these. But if you get the Blu-ray, and I'll show you a picture of it later on toward the end of the episode, that's really well done. It's got a lovely interview with the lovely Caroline Munro, who plays Dia in the movie. She was Diane the Beautiful in the book, but apparently the producers didn't think that was a prehistoric and sounding enough name. I think in the book that they learned to speak the same language as the humans, but here they just had everyone speak English because it's a very, very English, don't you know?
A mighty juggernaut to blast through the solid rock of the Earth's mantle at a rate of 78 feet per minute.
And they plan, this is just a test run. There's the people cheering that you just heard. And they're getting ready to go once again.
1,000 miles into the heart of our planet.
We've been on top of the Earth long enough. It's about time we found out what's underneath.
You gotta love those very familiar sound effects. It's right out of every submarine movie. So this is set in the Victorian era, which ended in first part of the 20th century, 1901. So it's either probably, I would guess, after World War or the Civil War, but I couldn't tell you for sure. It's what people nowadays like to call steampunk. The iron mold, because it's a modern machine, but it looks very ancient. This is a wonderful model. You can't see it here, but all of the treads here move, and here. Everything moves. So they made the props bigger. According to the director, they had a bigger budget due to the success of The Land That Time Forgot. Unfortunately, they're a bit let down with the monsters, which are all supposed to be prehistoric monsters. But there they go, right into the ground. And due to a malfunction, they end up somewhere. They don't know where.
Got it. This guy's activating now. Steady the throttles.
So this is Pellucidar. They don't know it yet, but they think that they've gone through. They were only going through the side of the mountain to the other whatever part of England they were at, but they went down instead. They couldn't correct for course the direction. And here's our first monster that they run into. No seatbelts in their machine. There we go.
From the world's favorite writer of fascinating fiction, Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core, the astounding discovery of a strange, forbidding land.
I've only seen it before in fossilized form.
So yes, him being a scientist, he's an expert in the field of science. So he forgets that there could be danger. It's a pretty common trope about scientists. So they filmed this at Pinewood Studios, where they film such small movies like Superman and Star Wars, the Muppet movie, and things like that. So it looks, these are really nice looking props and sets. To see this print's a little grainy, a little fuzzier than the Blu-ray would be, but we'll have to live with it.
A primeval nightmare world whose shadows hid the nameless terrors that were yet to come.
That's this beastie here, which is called
Humans of another age, chained in bondage.
I don't even know what this thing is supposed to be.
Preyed upon by monstrous giants.
All right. So they get captured by the Sagoths, the subhuman Sagoths, who are minions of the Mahars, which are reptilian pterosaurs, advanced pterosaurs. They have telepathy. In the book, they're described as being only female, and they reproduce parthenogenetically by means of a closely guarded great secret. It's been a minute since I've read the book. The only copy I have right now, I think, is Tarzan at the Earth's Core. We'll discuss that in a little bit, just because it's got one of the funnier paleontological mistakes of all time. And it was actually something that they thought was true. This is, of course, the lovely Caroline Munro, star of Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and The Adventures of Stella Star, a.k.a. Star Crash, where they dubbed her with a bland Midwestern accent. I don't know why, because they wanted her to sound more exotic, which they should have for a space movie. They should have just left her speak in her natural voice. She's a fine actress. So, really, supposedly, and she looks like the sweetest person in her interviews. So here's our Brontotheriums, which are now called, what are they called? Megacerops? I don't know, Brontotherium. They're really vicious. Unfortunately, they move around to the actors, the stuntmen inside them, move around way too much like men in suits. They don't try to act like monsters, which is always something the Japanese actors did when they don suits, is to try not to look act so human. But as we see, this guy gets gored, gore, and then just dies, and he slumps over like some guy got stabbed. He's leaning against there instead of. I don't know that a monster would lean against something. There's another fine matte scene there. I think they did some forced perspective here, and they did it really well. So this might not even be a matte scene. It's cheaper to do it this way. And here you go. There's they're walking behind him. This is definitely forced perspective because I don't even. As they're all, and the Abner wants to look at everything and see what's going on. And here we have the fire, a wall of flame or flame fountain or fire fountain. They're about to be introduced to the Mahars, who will rule the world, rule Pellucidar. So there's our bad guys. The Sagoths are their minions who do their dirty work. And Abner is saying, "Oh, look, it's a Rhamphorhynchus of the late Jurassic." No, it's not. It's not. I mean, in the books, they're kind of described that way, but they're still big animals. They communicate telepathically. I mean, the faces could use a little work, but the bodies are fine. They're just, I mean, I like them. If they'd have been in an Ultraman show, we'd have been fine with them. They'd have been fine. But because it's a Western, they got to look better. A Western movie. So here's the book of the Mahar, which has all their secrets in it, and Abner is translating that. There are a bunch of you don't go too long without getting some kind of monster show up. Now, a couple of them, we've seen the best ones so far. In fact, those are the best ones. We see a dragon of some kind. Well, it's not a dragon. It's just, what did they call it here? I don't even know. It's just like this 4-footed thing that comes out that the Mahars control. This is our. This is Ra, who later on become friends after they have a fight, played by Cy Grant, and they fight in a plant that wants to eat them. They get out, and then now they're friends. They tried to kill each other, but now they're friends. I think he was standing up for Dia's honor because, of course, David Inns. Imagine a David not catching on to clues in another land. Give him a little break here. All Davids deserve a break, don't they, Seven? They sure do. And here they are in flight, which, in the Blu-ray, you can almost see, if you look hard enough, you can sometimes see where the wires are attached. But again, it's not bad. They tried. They were just stiff. All the monsters are stiffer than their predecessors were, which is what some people poo-poo about the movie without saying, oh, this is a fun pulp adventure. Now, there are some differences here in Pellucidar. One of the things in the book, there's no time. I mean, David goes off at one point and returns, and he thinks it's been months, and the professor, Dr. Abner Perry, looks at him and says, I thought you were leaving. So it's weird. There's just no sense of time there because the sun never sets. It's bright. It's at the Earth's core, and there's a big ball of flaming gas heating the planet, the inside of the planet. So there are proponents of a hollow Earth theory and probably still people that believe in it. They're still dumb, but they still believe in it. So be that as it may, let's get back to the movie. And now they've decided that, okay, he's got to fight the monster here. That we're just going to call it I don't even know. Maybe this, I don't know what it is. But wait, no, you go away. Let's get back over here. Too many buttons. No. So there's it's a full-size prop. There's 2 actors in it. And he said the director said there were stunt doubles. And that they had to take frequent breaks because I'm sure they were roasting inside that thing. But they moved pretty well. They worked together well. It's a little there's slobber on the jaws. It's a little undone simply because You can tell it doesn't move quite naturally, though. It's right there in the frame, which makes it more fun to me instead of a soulless CGI creation. More Mahars who are controlling it. And the fight's all right. Ra tells him to stab it behind the ears, which he does, and it bleeds. Looks like blood to me. And then it goes away. And they whine. They kind of sense it. So they must have some kind of, if they're controlling you telepathically and you get hurt, they feel it, I guess. I think this is a great shot. I mean, it's very moody, very atmospheric. If you walked into a cave and these things weren't moving and you thought they were statues and then they started, yeah, freak you out. So this is Ra's chance to shine. He gets to kill a Mahar by choking it to death. And then they go on about their business. They get away. And oops, there's a flaming toad. There you go, frog. One of your people. And here's what we're listening. This is what happens. They don't know what to do. David and Dia are right there. And those are the actors behind that wall of flame. They are bold people when you're a low-budget production. But it looks pretty good. It doesn't move too much. You can tell, again, it's just a largely immovable prop just to throw in a little danger there. And then we hear this.
The sly one will lead Jubal the ugly one back here.
I heard about him.
Oh, David, he will kill you.
Oh. So there's our fight scene. Jubal, this is Gak the ugly one, and it's Jubal the ugly one. So somebody on Wikipedia has messed up. So we got to settle that first. And Abner shoots it with flaming arrows, and it blows up into a big old explosion. Goodbye, Toad, or Frog, or whatever you are. I think this one was supposed to be the... where'd that thing go? Mastodontosaurus, which is actually an ancient amphibian, I believe. So it's a fire. What it's doing out that far away from water is beyond me, and why it would breathe fire. But then Torchy breathed fire in Land of the Lost. So there they are. They decide that we've got to go fight this. I got to go fight this guy. He'll kill you. There he is. Yeah, I'd say he's the ugly one. So he's. Let's see, where is Jubal? Michael Crane as Jubal, the ugly one. And obviously, you kind of got to feel sorry for him. Here's the sly one, and I missed his name. But we can listen to a little of the fight here, I think.
David!
Behind a barrier of molten lava, an empire of evil, an inferno ruled by winged creatures like guardians of the gates of hell.
So, he falls into a bunch of mushrooms that poof up. David stabs him, and he says, they want him to marry Dia. She's in love with him, and who wouldn't be in love with her? Yeah, but he says, no, we got to destroy the Mahars first. So off they go. And that's what you're listening to here.
A host of Satans, nourished by the flesh of sacrificial maidens.
So there's that's what powers the wall of flame. So they figured out that. Now they're flying again and getting shot at because Abner is taught they have a name for these people, and I'm forgetting because once again I don't think it's mentioned in there, but they've taught him how to use bows and arrows, so they're latter-day Robin Hoods. Dia gets transfixed again, and Abner does as well, but he has a memorable line and says, "You can't mesmerize me, I'm English." And I'm not sure if he's saying that he can't be mesmerized or they can't mesmerize him because he's English. He gets a lot of funny lines, and I believe he ad-libbed a few of them. They said they had a lot of fun working, or Caroline in her interview on the Blu-ray says she had a lot of fun working on it. So they've got some good shots here, and when they hit them, the Mahars, they blow up pretty good. And now he's got them out of there. They're trying to get everyone out. Unfortunately, Ra sacrifices himself when they tip over it. Everything goes kablooey. And now we're headed out. Oh, one more. Dang it. Pictures here. You can hear all the explosions. They pretty much give you this trailer, which you'll see at the end at the end here.
Starring Doug McClure, Peter Cushing, Caroline Munro. Take the most terrifying journey of your life.
It's not that terrifying.
Edgar Rice Burroughs at the Earth's core.
All right, so we're here at the end of the movie. Everyone's happy and cheering, except for Ra, who's gone. He wants to take Dia with him back to the Earth, to the surface world, and she's smart enough to say, "Screw that, hippie." She cries. She says no. He accepts it. He's a good man. And she gives him this little doodad. I don't know if she's returning it or saying, "Remember me." The good news is there's 5 more books in the series, I believe. The Land of Pellucidar. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 more books from 1914 to 1963. Tarzan at the Earth's Core was the 4th one, and he meets up with David Innes. I'd like to read that again. I mean, I'm happy to have it. I only have a few Tarzan books, and there were lots of those. I've enjoyed the ones I've read. And yet, I digress yet again. So they get back in there. They go. Apparently, they got everything replaced and repaired. Built a new launching pad there at the center of the Earth, or wherever they were. And look, they show up in the United States, in Washington, D.C., much to the surprise of these policemen. Now, when I had the 8mm film, it was only about 10 minutes long and grainy, and you couldn't see the seals because it was like this. I mean, the pan and scan did not let you see everything. So we had no idea where it was popping up. And they look like bobbies, so go figure. So that's our movie, and we're going to see a little. Here's the Blu-ray, which I quite enjoy. It's one of the Blu-rays. There's one that I don't know if that's the one I have or not. I didn't look. But obviously, there's your fire-breathing toad, a snake of some kind. They say it's not what it is. They're out of luck. The Mahars, yeah, I'd love this. At 11 years old, I'd have thought it was more fun then. It's a lot less depressing than The Land That Time Forgot. So, and here's the 8. So that was in 76. I must have got this in 78 or 79. It wasn't one I was looking for, but I accepted it because it was a monster. It was a monster movie. I hadn't seen the movie, hadn't gotten to television yet. Here's a lovely picture. You'll probably see that as the thumbnail if it'll let me. And that about wraps it up. Halloween at the Earth's Core, the 2nd year with pictures and sounds. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, we haven't got to this. So in Tarzan at the Earth's Core, the Stegosaurus flies. There was a theory at that point in time, Tarzan at the Earth's Core, that 1920 in the 20s, that the Stegosaurus plates might be used to glide around. So there it is. You can see it. I'm still just astounded that anyone thought this. I mean, it doesn't look like it's not built to be a flyer. So here's some things from the press kit. And let's go on. Here's the next one, which I really like. Mossop. That should have been Moscops. The boss. The falcon. The Saurus. The Thesaurus. But the Thesaurus knows all the words. I don't know who made this, but I would have loved to have one of these. This just would have sparked my imagination. So there you have it, agents. I hope you've enjoyed the return to the Earth's core on Halloween. Ultraman will be delayed. I did not even ask you to like, share, subscribe, vote in a poll, or do anything like that. But if you did, thanks. We really appreciate it. Listen to it for a couple more minutes, and I hope you've enjoyed your hummus of perfection. It was a long day at my other assignment. All right, so until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off.
It was the scientific marvel of the century. a mighty juggernaut to blast through the solid rock of the Earth's mantle.
At a rate of 78 feet per minute.
4,000 miles into the heart of our planet.
We've been on top of the Earth long enough. It's about time we found out what's underneath. News cutters. Listeners activating now. Steady the throttles. Steady. Confounded contraptions.
Grand scale adventure from the world's favorite writer of fascinating fiction, Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core, the astounding discovery of a strange, forbidding land.
I've only seen it before in fossilized form.
A primeval nightmare world whose shadows hid the nameless terrors that were yet to come.
Take care of yourself, David!
Humans of another age, chained in bondage by an army of ape men, preyed upon by monstrous giants.
Now I fear that Hooja, the sly one, will lead Jubal, the ugly one, back here.
I heard about him.
David, he will kill you.
Watch him, David!
Behind a barrier of molten lava, an empire of evil. An inferno ruled by winged creatures like guardians of the gates of hell. A host of Satans, nourished by the flesh of sacrificial maidens. Starring Doug McClure, Peter Cushing, Caroline Munro. Take the most terrifying journey of your life. Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core.